Engineers in Istanbul are working on one of the most challenging projects to date. Few people have dared even to imagine a project like this before now. The first tunnel road to connect Asia and Europe beneath the sea. It is 5 kilometers long. It runs from one side of Istanbul to the other, through the very heart of the city. It is a much greater accomplishment than it seems at first glance. It requires boring deep into the Earth's crust, formed over millions of years. At its deepest point, it reaches 106.4 meters underground. Extremely high pressure is involved at such depths, which means the boring can only be accomplished with the help of a giant machine. This project used one of the biggest tunnel boring machines in the world. It is 120 meters long and weighs 3,300 tons. It bores 24 hours a day, a colossal non-stop metal mole. The project is quite risky and extremely expensive, with a price tag of $1.245 billion US. All of this has a single purpose: to ease Istanbul's chronic traffic problems. Setting aside everything else, Istanbul's silhouette alone is a universally known trademark. Istanbul is the one and only city that sits on 2 continents. It is not an ordinary city. It is a living organism, active 24 hours a day. Just like vessels, the roads facilitate blood flow to the city. And of course, this megacity of about 15 million people suffers from a diverse array of problems. These are not minor problems. Bosphorus, which connects the Marmara Sea with the Black Sea, separates the city into 2 parts along the north-south axes. This extraordinary circumstance creates a peculiar phenomenon: intercontinental trips inside the city limits. One part of the city is in Asia, while the other is in Europe. According to 2016 figures, 31.7 million one-way trips take place daily inside the city of Istanbul. About 10.2 million of these trips are made aboard public transportation vehicles. Thousands of vehicles cross over from one continent to the other. These facts and figures make Istanbul the 6th busiest city in the world when it comes to traffic. The traffic congestion in Istanbul, which has about 4 million vehicles, costs 6.5 billion Turkish lira annually on average. There is also an additional fact that Istanbul must face. The bridges on the Bosphorus are not equipped to prevent the congestion caused by intercontinental crossovers. The intensity of traffic on the Bosphorus significantly outstrips the overall capacity of the 3 existing suspension bridges.
There is only 2 bridges in this very huge Bosphorus Strait. So in Korea, we have similar strait, but we have more than 30 bridges in this kind of strait.
The solution lies not above ground, but rather deep underground. This is where the Eurasia Tunnel comes into the picture. The historic project began to improve the traffic in the city. Politicians, bureaucrats, engineers, businessmen, and the public all concur. Excitement is in the air. It is the first time that a tunnel road will connect Asia and Europe. The Eurasia Tunnel is becoming a reality. The project's size is remarkable. The tunnel ends on the European side of Kumkapı, on the historic peninsula. And on the Asian side, the 5-kilometer-long tunnel comes to the surface at Kuşyolu. The total length of the project is 14.6 kilometers. The tunnel does not follow a straight course underneath the Bosphorus. Rather, it runs along a curved route decided by the geological structure of the seabed at the Bosphorus's bottom. The tunnel starts 22 meters below sea level in the Asian continent. It slants down at a 5% slope until it reaches the deepest point. This deepest point lies 106.4 meters below the sea level. From this point, it starts back on an upward slant until it reaches 18 meters below the sea level on the European continent. The idea of hundreds of thousands of vehicles crossing to the other side beneath the sea rather than above sea level may sound crazy at first. But such challenging structures are not at all alien to this geography. Many structures have made history in Istanbul. One of these is a temple that turned simplicity into grandiosity. Süleymani Mosque. Built by the architect Sinan, the edifice has survived thousands of earthquakes during the last 460 years. Hagia Sophia, one of the boldest steps ever taken in historic world architecture, served as the world's biggest temple for about a millennium after it was built in 537. Galata Tower also holds an important place in Istanbul's skyline. It is 1,489 years old and on the UNESCO World Heritage tentative list. It is by no means easy to secure a loan for a project of this magnitude. 11 different international organizations providing the $960 million in financing. The remaining $285 million has been covered by the two companies carrying out the project, Yapı Merkezi of Turkey and SK Group of South Korea. Bashar Aroğlu, the chairman of Yapı Merkezi Construction, who was among the architects of the difficult credit sourcing process.
18 yılda anca fizibil oluyor bu proje. Dolayısıyla 18 yıllık bir kredi bulmamız icap ediyordu burada. 18 yıllık krediyi herhangi bir yerden bulamıyorsunuz. Dolayısıyla bunu dünyanın en büyük, en stabil, bu boyutu kaldırabilecek hem rakamı hem de süreyi kaldırabilecek yapılara gitmeniz gerekiyor.
Financing crisis was there. Global financing crisis changed the financing rule of game. So that's why we had to, invite the more strong financing institution.
With its 18-year maturity, the loan has the longest maturity ever extended to a Build-Operate-Transfer (BOT) project in Turkey. When a project is this big, the number of organizations involved is also inevitably too many.
This project is PPP project. We have concession, and we are getting money from the lenders and the shareholders. We are making the tunnel and open it, and making money from the people who are going to use it. It's very simple, but if you work into the further, it's not that simple. There are lots of interest parties, so you have to organize, harmonize each party's interest.
So there came a need for a new organization to coordinate the various parties. ATAŞ, or the Eurasia Tunnel Operation, Construction and Investment (INC), was founded as an equal partnership between Yapı Merkezi and SKENC. The ATAŞ Deputy General Manager, Mustafa Tanravardi, was among those who shouldered the tough assignment of securing the loan.
Bu işlerin tabii tek merkezde idare edilmesi gerekiyordu. Bu her zaman yatırımcı firma olan görevli şirket ATAŞ bünyesinde gerçekleştirildi. Diğerleri tamamıyla müteahhit olsun, taşeronları olsun, diğer farklı kamu kuruluşları olsun, idare, kredi verenler hepsi ATAŞ'ın etrafında ki kuruluşlardı. Tüm koordinasyon yükü, iletişim yükü, örgütsel yönetim büyük oranda ATAŞ'ın üzerindeydi.
Kazlıçeşme, the project's starting point on the European side, was a highly complicated leg in terms of the management processes, although it looked like an ordinary road construction job. This is because the construction was very near the sea and located on a coastal road with especially heavy traffic. Necil Engür was the site manager on this tough portion of the project.
Şehir içerisinde, üstelik İstanbul'un göbeğinde, üstelik sahil yolunda, üstelik tarihi yarımadada tüm turistlerin olduğu bölgede ve Yenikapı gibi miting alanının olduğu bir bölgede bu işi yapmak gerçekten çok zordu.
All details had to be elaborately calculated. Many technical, environmental, and social elements needed to be taken into account. First of all, a concrete diaphragm wall was built to separate the ground and the sea. Then, excavation work began along the route. Pillars supported the side walls. Tunnel approach road consisted of 8 lanes. 4 going in each direction. The second and the most important part of the project involved the crossing of the strait. This part includes the TBM tunnel and the approach tunnels. The third part extends from the tunnel exit on the Asian side to Göztepe. This route includes intersection work, road extension work, and connection roads, as well as overpasses. Connection roads to the tunnel have 8 lanes, 4 going in each direction. The project's control center is also in this part. Changing continents during the day is a condition specific to the city of Istanbul. This is not only accomplished by land vehicles or sea vessels. National and international competitions exemplify this. More than 100,000 people from more than 100 countries join the Intercontinental Eurasia Marathon each year. Additionally, over 2,000 swimmers join the Bosphorus Cross-Continental Swimming Race each year. The point of all these events is clear: to witness this unique meeting of these two continents, Asia and Europe. The structure of the tunnel is another subject altogether. One option was to open 2 tunnels, 1 for each direction, but this proved costly and risky. The ideal option was adopted in the end, a single tunnel that goes both directions, a masterpiece of a depth and magnitude that has never before been attempted. This project is designed to have a lifetime of 100 years, according to specifications. However, analysis shows that the structure can last much longer. One of the obstacles facing this project is time pressure. Every second counts. The construction must be completed on time. Qualified manpower is the most essential aspect. A total of 204 engineers and thousands of workers are employed to ensure the project's on-time completion. This team includes the best engineers, technicians, workers, and machine operators in Turkey and the world. One very essential precondition to find the labor: understanding the geological structure of the layers of the Bosphorus. A total of 23 drills bored down along the route of the tunnel. Geologists and engineers examined the samples taken by these drills to discover the structure of the ground and prepare a suitable roadmap. This is not as easy as one may think. There are various geological formations along the route of the tunnel. The geology starts with hard rocks in Asia. Then there are soft layers, such as marine sediments and sand, in the middle. Hard layers consisting of dense volcanic rocks start again on the European side. Workers' careful, precise effort is essential in such circumstances. The work is so difficult, it tests the physical capacity of the human being. The workers proceed underground during 8-hour shifts. The project ran non-stop on a 24/7 basis. All necessary precautions were put in place to protect from possible risks in the work environment.
Herhangi bir kaza yaşamamak için veya herhangi çevreye bir zarar vermemesi için her türlü tedbiri aldık. Öncelikle işe profesyonel bir ekip kurmakla başladık. Deneyimli arkadaşlardan kadromuzu oluşturduk. Risk analizlerimizi oluşturduk. Bunlarla ilgili aksiyon planlarımızı hazırladık. Kalabalık bir iş gücü var. Yaklaşık 2500 kişiye ulaştığımız zamanlar oldu.
Şükürler olsun ki hiçbir ölümlü kazamız olmadı. Her sabah işe başlamadan önce işbaşı eğitimleri veriliyor. Bu eğitimler hemen hemen her vardiyada yapılıyor ve her noktada yapılıyor. Bunlar için harcadığımız saatler 10.000'leri buldu. Sahaya her giren elemanı mutlaka ve mutlaka eğitimden geçiriyoruz.
Digging a tunnel is a bitter struggle that mankind wages against nature, and achieving victory in such a struggle requires great power. This power comes from the TBM, which stands for Tunnel Boring Machine. It is like a giant mole that runs underground. Finishing the project would have been impossible without it. It is 120 meters long. It can bore a hole with a diameter of 13.7 meters underground. This is the first time that a machine of this size has ever been used under such extraordinary conditions. Boring a hole with a diameter of 13.7 meters under a pressure of 11 bars. The result has been a great success. The project passed a very crucial milestone when it reached the end of the long digging marathon. It was a historic moment. The TBM, which started digging in Asia, appeared on another continent, and engineers, politicians, bureaucrats, and workers celebrated this as a huge victory.
Boğazın altından geçerek karşıda, çatıda kapıda yüzeye çıkması bu hepimiz için bir gurur kaynağı.
O ciddi bir mutluluktu yani. O gece rahat uyuyorsunuz.
It was a great event for breakthrough.
O sırada içimden çok büyük bir sevinç oldu ve Allah'ıma çok şükrettim.
The TBM was produced specially for the Eurasia Tunnel by the company Herrenknecht in collaboration with Turkish engineers. It is named Yildirim Bayezid. Produced in Germany, parts of the TBM were loaded on different ships and then sent to Istanbul. Upon arrival in Istanbul, the TBM was reassembled inside the tunnel. This reassembly work alone took about 3 months. One crucial element behind this success is the boring discs designed specifically for the boring area. The TBM has 35 boring discs. Preparing these discs to match the differing geological structures proved essential.
Bir proje olacak elinde, makine tasarımcısına gideceksin. Ya ben bu projenin işte kazısını yaptıracağım, segmanların montajını yapacağım, bana bir tane TBM ver. Hani böyle bir yaklaşımla yapılabilecek bir proje değil. O yüzden biz bu projede rol alıyoruz. Sırf makinenin kazıya başlamadan evvel yapılan çalışmaları 2 sene.
The geotechnical report prepared for the route was sent to Herrenknecht, the company that built the TBM. Herrenknecht produced the discs in full compliance with the geology.
Herrenknecht'le olan çalışmalarımızda öyle parametreler tanımlandı ki onlar yapı merkezi kurumu ile çalışmaktan ve böyle bir veriler manzumesi ile, çünkü bunu iddia edebiliriz açıkça. Dünyada en iyi çalışılmış bir proje.
The TBM produced for the Eurasia Tunnel is a complex machine made up of thousands of parts. Its cutting head was designed to work on both soft soil and in low to semi-coarse rock formations. The cutting head originally weighed 120 tons, but fell down to 90 tons after being worn away during the tough 476-day boring process.
This tunnel is the Champion League of, if you compare it with football, it's absolutely special. And I would say it's a highlight. It's first time that we entered such a big tunnel, with a high pressure, and did make a conception like this successfully. This will lift the whole industry and give us a chance to make somewhere tunnels which we didn't do before, quite clearly.
The Eurasia Tunnel is the 6th largest tunnel in the world in terms of the width of its diameter. It is in 3rd place in terms of compression strength with its 11-bar pressure. This is the first TBM tunnel boring project realized with a diameter of this size and with such success. To work under such a high pressure, one needs a very special team that includes industrial divers. Specially trained divers are working under 11-bar pressure for the first time in the world. Their job is to realize, maintain, and repair the TBM. Victor Karl managed this challenging process.
Critical works we had to do were repair works on the TBM stone crusher and the grid that are critical. If they don't work, the whole TBM doesn't work. The stone crusher crushes the stones coming from the front, and the first intervention or the first problem the TBM had.
Working on the TBM's front part under high pressure is a difficult process. It requires special equipment, great concentration, and a good deal of preparation. The divers first needed to equalize the pressure to enter the work environment. They needed to enter a compression chamber for that. They stayed there for 10 days without interruption. They breathed air that was a mixture of oxygen, helium, and nitrogen.
The guys were living on 10 bar, equal to 100 meters of water depth. They were living on that depth and working on 10.8 bar. Yeah, so they were maybe like 10 days or something in total. They were under this pressure and then decompressed within 5 days.
Following the pressure equalization, the divers then start moving towards the front section of the TBM. This trip is made inside a pressurized capsule. Then, by using the connection mechanism, they enter the area where they are supposed to carry out maintenance procedures. They can stay there 10 hours at the most. This is because the pressure in front of the TBM is 11 times greater than normal.
210 metrelik suya dalmışçasına bu arkadaşlar girdiler ve böyle bir makinede onarım gerçekleştirdiler. Hiçbir tünelcilikte böyle bir şeyle karşılaşılmamıştır. Dünya literatürüne de dünya rekoru olarak geçmiştir.
There is a need for boring 500,000 cubic meters under the Bosphorus. The TBM puts in place the reinforced concrete segments of the tunnel while the boring process continues. The segments are put inside the TBM in a certain order. The mechanism called erector mounts the segments to create a complete form. The segments are fixed to one another using bolts. And finally, a key block is added to ensure that the ring stays whole. The block weighs 7 tons. The construction work is completed by injecting concrete into the form. The TBM pushes itself forward by thrusting its hydraulic arms onto the ring. It continues to bore as it moves forward. Reinforced concrete segments used in such a special tunnel are, of course, special too. The segments that form the outer wall of the undersea tunnel can bear a pressure of 75 megapascal. This means that each centimeter can bear 750 kilograms. The segments are produced by Yapı Merkezi's prefabrication plant. Each and all of them are completely watertight and weigh 14 tons. A total of 15,057 segments are used in the entire tunnel. It is crucial that the materials used in the tunnel be of the first grade.
60 bine yakın test yaptık. Yani bir bileziği, bir ringi çıkarmak için biz 30'dan fazla test yapmak zorunda kaldık. Ve sıfır toleransla. Eğer en ufak bir tolerans dışı bir durum varsa o beton kullanılmadı. İlk defa bu çaplarda donatı demirler birbirine füzyon kaynak metoduyla bağlandı ve ilk makine burada yapıldı. 1.2 milimetre toleranslarla, milimetrik toleranslarla bu ürünü üretmemiz gerekiyordu. O yüzden 3 boyutlu bir ölçüsel kontrol sistematiği geliştirdik.
All segments must be mounted according to the boring speed of the TBM. They must be delivered to the boring site and loaded onto the TBM for mounting. Otherwise, the boring process may be delayed.
Bir segman yaklaşık 14 ton. Bir tırda 2 adet, bir ringi de toplam 4 tırla sevk ettik. Dolayısıyla 6700 seferde tüm ringlerinizi taşıyarak başarıyla teslim ettik.
Hepsi bir barkod sistemine yüklendi. Bu barkodla birlikte sahaya giden ürün oradaki bir barkod tabancasıyla kontrol edildiğinde bütün seceresiyle birlikte alınıp yerine konuldu. Dolayısıyla her bir segmentin seceresi bu şekilde kayıt altına alındı ve tünele yerleştirildi.
The raw material used in the preparation of the concrete was outsourced from various places in Turkey.
Çimento Bolu'dan geldi. Kum Çatalca'dan temin edildi. Kırmataş Şile'den temin edildi. Demir Çanakkale'den temin edildi. Bunların geldiği kilometreleri hesap ettiğimiz zaman segment haline getirilmesi ve bu segmentin de alınıp hareme, şantiye, TBM'e verilmesindeki kat edilen mesafe toplamı 1 milyon kilometredir.
The project had to be constructed to endure the toughest conditions. Perhaps the toughest of all these conditions is the potential of earthquake. Many earthquakes have occurred in the Marmara region in the past, and Istanbul is right on the North Anatolian fault line that starts at Van and ends at the Aegean Sea. This project is only 16 kilometers away from the fault line, which has high seismic activity.
İstanbul tabii depremini bekleyen bir şehir. Tahmin ettiğimiz fay hattı Avrasya'nın 16 kilometre güneyinden geçiyor. Neye göre tasarım yaptığınızı da biliyorsunuz. Yani bir miktar bilerek yapıyoruz tasarımı. İstiyoruz ki tırnak içinde söyleyeyim İstanbul depremi olduğu zaman bu tip önemli yapılar fonksiyonuna devam etsin.
Elde edilen sismik ve geoteknik bilgilerin bilimin gerektirdiği objektif değerlendirmemize istinaden tünel güzergahının deprem riskine maruz kalmayacak tarzda seçildiğini gönül rahatlığıyla söyleyebilirim.
Is the Eurasia Tunnel ready to survive such an earthquake? Kandili Observatory and Earthquake Research Institute took part in the design phase of the tunnel. The project was designed to resist the biggest possible earthquake that may be generated by the fault system. The Eurasia Tunnel has got one major guarantee regarding an earthquake, or rather two guarantees. It has two seismic rings that minimize possible displacement. These rings were applied for the first time under 11 bar pressure in the TBM tunnel building process. This further boosted the safety of the tunnel against possible earthquakes.
Bütün mesele doğaya karşı durmak değil, doğayla beraber hareket etmek, bu hareketi önceden tanımlamak ve bu hareketi müsaade etmek. Yapı buna müsaade ettiği anda bir anda bütün kuvvetler azalıyor, sistem yumuşuyor ve depreme karşı çok doğal bir reaksiyon veriyor tünel.
Hiçbir endişesi olmasın orayı kullanacak insanların. Şu anda dünyadaki en güvenli yapılardan bir tanesi. Hiçbir problem çıkacağını inşallah tahmin etmiyorum. Hakikaten çok büyük mühendislik hizmeti görmüştür ve çok büyük inşaat hizmeti görmüştür. Çok önemli teknik bir yapı. İnşallah çok uzun süreler milletimize hizmet edecek.
The project is advancing further each day. The race against time continues. There is very little time left before the opening. Asphalt works will soon be complete. The installation of the security and signalization systems is complete. Final touches on the architectural elements are also underway. Feverish work continues on the whole of the project. In addition to the structural characteristics, the project includes inspiring interior features. Good lighting will reduce possible future accidents considerably. Specially designed LED bulbs are used to light the tunnel's interior. Lighting nearest to daylight is used in the entrance and exit of the tunnel. The project's design was inspired by the rosette and passion flower figures the revered architect Sinan in his work. Yapı Merkezi Holdings Vice President Köksal Anadol chaired the team in charge of the architectural arrangements.
Dünyaca meşhur 7-8 firma, aydınlatma firması ile görüştük. Onları adeta yarıştırdık. Ve sonuçta İstanbul'daki milli mimarimizin kemerler, kubbelerinden esinlenerek, hatta Topkapı Sarayı'ndaki bazı motiflerden yararlanarak tünelin iç aydınlatmasında çok güzel sanatsal katkılarda bulundu.
According to Yapı Merkezi Chairman Dr. Ersin Arolo, the project follows in the footsteps of architect Sinan.
İstanbul kemerler, kubbeler şehridir ve Mimar Sinan'ın geçtiği bir kent. Ona saygı duymadan, onunla bütünleşmeden, onunla yaptıklarını, bu şehre verdiklerini anlamadan bu eseri elimizde çizemezdik yani. Onunla ilgili bazı şeyler yaptık ve yapıya da koyduk. Mimar Sinan'ın ruhu şad olmuştur diye düşünüyorum.
The paint and colors applied to the walls were also chosen diligently. Inside the tunnel, their light shows give the impression of advancement and show that one is nearing the exit. The driving route is bright and spacious. In case of an energy loss, alternate systems go into effect to provide uninterrupted power. In case of an electricity loss on the Asian side, power is provided from the European side or vice versa. The generators start working in case of a loss in the whole city. Ventilation is another crucial element in such a project. Ventilation systems provide fresh air to the tunnel without interruption. A total of 99 jet fans inside the tunnel drive fresh air up to the most remote points. They also take away the poisonous gases in case of intense traffic and fire. There is also a high-capacity drainage system for the emission of wastewater. Fire is among the most dangerous scenarios that may be encountered in the tunnel. Fire detection and extinguishing systems protect the tunnel. The system continuously monitors the entire vicinity and related buildings. All possible fires are detected instantly with the help of fire cameras.
Kuvvetli bir havalandırma sistemi var. Pasif yangın koruma sistemleri var. Yangın olduğu zaman tünel yapısal olarak entegrasyonunu kaybetmiyor. Buna tabliyeler de dahil. Yangından rahatlıkla 2 saate kadar korunabileceğin odalarımız var. Bunların hepsini bir araya koyduğunuz zaman yangın açısından çok güvenli bir tünel.
All materials used inside the tunnel are also durable against the fire. The walls are coated with fire-resistant surface materials 3 centimeters thick, so a fire that starts in one compartment will not reach another floor. This is the control room of the Eurasia Tunnel. It is essentially the brain of the project. All systems are managed and monitored from this room. The system called SCADA, the Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition System, monitors everything inside the tunnel automatically.
Otomatik olay algılama sistemi, duran araç, yaya, duman ve düşen obje gibi normal dışı bütün olayları saniyeler içerisinde tespit ederek operatörün ana ekranına düşürüyor. Operatör en fazla 10 saniye içerisinde ilgili senaryoyu aktive ediyor. 26 adet senaryo daha önceden SCADA'ya tanımlanmış durumda ve bu senaryolar çerçevesinde tünel otomatik olarak kapanabiliyor, havalandırma sistemleri otomatik olarak çalışıyor, bütün VMS, radyo anonsları ve trafik işaretleri yine otomatik olarak çalışıyor.
The entire tunnel is monitored all 24 hours with the help of 400 cameras. The precautions taken for the various states of emergency are, of course, very important. But what is of prime importance is to ensure the activation of emergency teams. The TATES system helps detect speeding vehicles. There are emergency shoulders in every 600 meters for vehicles to stop in case of a breakdown. Drivers may reach the control center instantly by using emergency telephones located every 100 meters inside the tunnel. The Istanbul Fire Department, Ambulance Center, Police Department, and the Disaster and Emergency Management Authority are on constant alert for possible emergency calls from the tunnel. December 20, 2016 will be remembered as a special and proud day in the history of Istanbul and the world. This is the day the Eurasia Tunnel, one of the world's biggest engineering feats, was inaugurated. People followed the inauguration ceremony with great interest.
Avrasya Tüneli sayesinde İstanbul'un iki yakası arasında dışarıdaki iklim şartlarından etkilenmeden kesintisiz araç ulaşımı mümkün hale geldi.
This is the moment a century-old dream becomes reality. Following the completion of final preparations, the tunnel is open to vehicles. This is a result of 4 years of extraordinary labor and determination.
Avrasya Tüneli, 150 yıllık hayalin gerçekleşmesi. Asya ile Avrupa'yı 2 katlı tünel olarak birleştiren dünyadaki tek proje. İleri mühendislik teknolojileri yapılmış, yüksek teknoloji gerektiren bir projeyi 2016 yılında Türkiye Cumhuriyeti'ne kazandırdık. Böyle büyük projeleri, mega projeleri yapmak güç ister, vizyon ister, cesaret ister. Sayın Cumhurbaşkanımızın liderliğinde dünya ölçeğindeki en büyük projelerden birinin ülkemize kazandırmanın mutluluğunu yaşıyoruz.
The project reduces the more than 100-minute-long transportation time between the two continents to 15 minutes. The Eurasia Tunnel promises functional, fast and comfortable transportation within Istanbul. It promises to bring relief to the traffic congestion. Traffic and transportation specialist Professor Gökmen Argun thinks the same.
Örneğin tipik bir koridor olan Göztepe Atatürk Havaalanı koridorunu düşünsek, burada tahmini olarak insanlar 40-45 dakika vakit kurtaracaklardı birinci köprüden geçmelerine göreceli olarak. Diğer köprülerden olan geçişlerde trafiğin bir kısmı Avrasya Tüneli'ne kaydırıldığı için orada da bir trafik sıkışıklığında azalma olacak.
The vehicles in the south of Istanbul will be able to cross to the other side without being obliged to go to the bridges in the north of the city. It is expected that a daily average of 100,000 vehicles will use the tunnel on both sides.
Anadolu yakasıyla İstanbul'un Avrupa'yı en kısa yerden birleştiren, hakikaten trafik güvenliğine, zaman kazancına büyük katkı getirecek bir proje. Bunun başarısı için el birliğiyle çalışıldı.
The project's design takes into account ecologic balances. Green areas established at air outlets reduce greenhouse gas emissions on the Asian side. The number of new trees in the city increased by 400%, as thousands of new trees were planted along the route. In addition to the 100,000 square meters of green area, a 15-kilometer-long walking trail and cycle track was also created in the region.
As well as that, one of the key features has been to make sure that it is environmentally sustainable, that it minimizes the impact on the local community, and produces an environmentally sustainable and socially responsible project.
Atash will operate the tunnel for 25 years. It will be transferred to the Ministry of Transportation without charge at the end of this period. Many international awards given to the project include Project of the Year Award by ITA, one of the world's most prestigious financial and tunnel building awards, the Best Environmental and Social Practice Award by the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, and the Best Global Tunnel Project Award by ENR.
We were really pleased to put forward Eurasia as an example of good practice, particularly in what it's done in relation to stakeholder engagement, its promotion of health and safety, its promotion of environmental pollution protection measures, and more recently its work on cultural heritage.
It will provide a certain confidence to the civil engineers about a similar or a little more challenging project.
Benim için en önemlisi bu projenin hiçbir can kaybı olmadan, büyük bir kaza yaşanmadan bitirilmiş olmasıdır.
They are making history. I'm very proud of I am one of them. I think it's not one of the best, it's the best.
Bu sistemin İstanbul'a yabancı düşmeyen, onunla bütünleşen, onun içinde olan, bir söylemi olan bir eser olması lazım. Tahmin ediyorum bunu başardık.
Avrasya Tüneli'nin İstanbul'a ve Türkiye'ye yaptığı katkılar anlatmakla bitmez. Yakıttan, zamandan ve egzoz emisyonunun azalımından çevreye olan katkısıyla bugüne kadar 6 milyar TL'nin üzerinde ekonomiye katkısı oldu.
The Eurasia Tunnel is one of the world's most important engineering achievements. It is a great masterpiece realized with the efforts of more than 12,000 employees, including more than 204 engineers from over 500 companies. Its achievement also resulted from the political will. The project has brought Istanbul a monumental structure that will inspire future generations. The adventure of Istanbul, already ongoing for the thousands of years during which the city served as the capital of 3 world empires, continues. The Eurasia Tunnel will be among the major milestones of this long adventure.